Morning, LinkedIn and YouTube. How are you guys doing today? I am super excited for a new week. It's Monday. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love Mondays just because during the weekend, I do nothing. Like I stay at home, I recharge, and then come Monday and I'm like, yes, let's go. So I'm very excited and I think the most energetic on Mondays, believe it or not. So first of all, do say hello to me in the chat box. I have it open and I try to respond to you guys as much as I can. Hello, Malik. How are you doing today? Who else do we have? Do let me know that you guys can see me and hear me before we start on today's topic, which is 3 ways to become a confident, introverted leader. So how many of you here are introverts? Let me know. Where are my introverts? I want to hear from you. Say introvert in the chat box. Hi, Kaser, Ranjit, Elizabeth, Ankur, Naresh, Jason, Mohammed, Fatima. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. And if you are an introvert, say introvert in the chat box because that's what we are going to be talking about today, how you can become a more confident introverted leader. So before I get started, I do want to invite you guys first to my masterclass that I will be holding in a few weeks. So do go to www.speakatwork.com. I see lots of you guys, a whole bunch of introverts. Awesome. Hey guys. So as I was saying, sorry, I got distracted. I get excited when I see other introverts because you guys know how it is. So as I was saying, do join me on my next live masterclass, which will be on in a few weeks. All you have to do is go to www.speakatwork.com. You can also go to my profile. It has the direct link for you guys, okay? So this is going to be for you if you are an introvert, if you're afraid of public speaking, and if you want to move up the corporate ladder quickly. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, join me on my next masterclass, speakatwork.com. That's how you can reserve your spot. I only have about 100 seats per masterclass, unfortunately. So make sure you claim your spot and you arrive early. All right. So someone is saying that they can't see me. I do have my video open. So you guys, I always do this just to make sure that I'm working. It looks like it is working. You might need to refresh. Now, let's get started, okay? Because there's a lot I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to introverts, and especially seeing that there are so many introverts here. You guys understand, right? Now, I was doing a little bit of research and looking into how many executives are introverted leaders. And to my surprise, there's not that many. Generally speaking, about 50% of the population is introverted, and the other 50% is more on the extroverted side, right? This is based on statistics. But when you look at statistics on how many executives, leaders, CEOs are introverts versus extroverts, guess what the number is? And this number, honestly, you guys, shocks me a little bit because the higher up you go in the corporate ladder, the fewer introverts there are, okay? The number decreases to just about 2% of introverts at the top level and 98% extroverts. Why is that happening? Why, right? Us introverts, we're brilliant. I know how brilliant introverts are. The only problem is we're afraid to speak up, or by the time we speak up, things are just, we're too late, right? That's what ends up happening. So this is what I want you to learn to do because it is very, very possible for you to become an introverted leader. It's very, very possible for you to still be introverted and move up the corporate ladder and move up very fast. Okay, I see it all the time. Do you guys know an example of an introverted leader of our time? Take an example. Take a guess. Who do you guys think is an introverted leader of our time? Someone very, very prominent. We have a whole bunch, but who is the one that is always in the news? You always hear about him. You always see him. Guess who he is. I want to see if you guys can guess who this person is. There are many introverted leaders. If you know another introverted leader, let me know in the chat box who you think that introverted leader is, because someone got it right. Oh my God, you guys are so smart. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean by how introverts are such smart people. Somebody already got it. We don't even need to wait for everyone else to respond. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you. And Cecilia, you got it right. We have a whole bunch here. Yes, there you go, you guys. Bill Gates, one of our top leading introverted leaders of today. Elon Musk, exactly. Biden, Barack Obama, Oprah. These guys are all introverted leaders, and look at where they are today, right? And this should prove to you that being an introvert should not stop you from moving up the ranks, from getting those promotions and becoming a confident leader. So let's kind of get into now how you become a more confident leader. And I want to give you guys 3 things that I think are extremely important for you to really excel, especially in the workplace. Okay. The first and most important is to hone in on your genius. I'm going to repeat that. Hone in on your genius. What does that mean? So us introverts, we're typically quiet, right? We think a lot. We lose our energy very quickly, okay? But what are some things we are really good at? We're very good at observing, right? You might be someone that's extremely good at observing. You might be someone that's very good at listening, right? Many introverts are great listeners, and listening is just as important as speaking. I would say it's 50-50, right? You have to listen to understand, and you have to listen to learn, right? What are some other things that introverts are great at? There's so many more things. You might also be an introvert that is just really, really good at your job, because all you do is you pay attention to your job. You don't waste time anywhere else. So that might be something that is your zone of genius. So I want you to really think about your zone of genius. What is it? Tell me what it is. I know each and every single one of you has one, and I want you to hone in on it, and I want you to use it in the workplace. Okay? So let's, for example, say you are really good at listening, right? If you're good at listening, that means you're very good at understanding, and you're likely very good at your job because you take in and process all of this information, correct? So if listening is one of your skills, right, that's what you need to use more of, right? A lot of people, someone saying attention to details, right? Diligent of thinking, sales, right? So that's your genius, right? And guess what? Not everyone can do that, especially extroverts, right? Extroverts have their own zone of genius. Us introverts, these are our zones of genius, okay? Now, the reason why I want you to know what it is because I want you to start using it, okay? For example, the listening one. If you're a good listener, right? Or if you pay really good attention to detail, like Mohammed here is saying, imagine how great you can be at your job if you can pay attention to details, right? So as soon as you start embracing the things that you are good at, it's going to give you more confidence in yourself, right? So right now, figure out what it is. What is your zone of genius? And at the same time, how are you going to embrace it? If it's listening, if it's paying attention to details, there are so many. You just need to know what it is, because that's going to make you stand out from the rest. Okay? Number 2. The second thing that I want you to start doing in order to be a more confident introverted leader is build more relationships and networking. Okay? Typically, when you're networking, I know introverts, we don't like speaking so much, but the great thing is when you're building relationships and when you're networking, there's not a lot of people, right? So it's much easier to speak to a few people versus a huge crowd of people, correct? So I want you to now start honing in and focus on those connections, on those relationships. And when you're networking on those networks, focus on them, because these are going to be the people that will help you move up the corporate ladder. Okay. So if you want to be a very confident introverted leader, you guys know relationships, how important they are, even in the workplace. It's very unlikely that you're going to get promoted by a boss that doesn't like you. Very unlikely. It's very unlikely that a CEO will move you up the corporate ladder if he doesn't agree with your ideas. Very unlikely, right? So I want you to start working on these relationships. Work on the relationship with your boss. Work on the relationship with your coworkers. If you're ever at a networking event, start working on these relationships, okay? Because these are the relationships that will actually help you move up a lot faster, okay? And when you know these people, right, the CEO, the senior levels, the executives, your boss, when you know them well and you've actually put in that time into the relationships, you're just naturally going to be a lot more confident in front of them, okay? Just think of it this way. It's much easier to speak to your friends, right, than it is to complete strangers. When you're in front of your friend, you can't stop talking sometimes. Yes, even us introverts, when we're in front of our friends, we just go on and on because these are people we trust and that we've built a relationship with, okay? Which is why extremely important, you guys, build those relationships. And I want you to really think about it. Who is someone in my company that can help me get this promotion? Is it my boss? It could be somebody from HR. When I worked at Stanford, HR had a huge role in promotions, right? Is it your boss? Is it someone from HR? Is it someone from the senior role, right? Is it an executive, or is it like the CEO? Is he or she the person that makes these decisions? Who is that person? They need to know you. They need to know your name. They need to know what you do. They need to know a lot more about you. Figure out who that person is. If it's all four, then so be it, all four. But work on building those relationships because it's going to help you move up the corporate ladder. Okay. And this is something that I think extroverts don't do, right? I think extroverts sometimes are overly confident. Not all of them. I know some amazing extroverts, you guys. There are so many that are completely brilliant. But what I've seen most of is that extroverts are sometimes a little bit too confident in themselves that they forget to do these things along the way as they're moving up the corporate ladder. They don't build those relationships, or they think they're too good already for their job, so they're not constantly improving and getting better. Okay. Whereas us introverts, we're the opposite. We're constantly improving and getting better, but we're stuck. We're not moving. Right. So this is what I want you to start doing, because as introverts, it's going to be easier for you to build those one-on-one relationships than being completely out there and not missing out. Okay. Now let's talk about the third thing. And before I move on to the third thing, if you are an introvert that's looking to get better at public speaking, and if you really want to move up the corporate ladder, right? If for you, you want to get that promotion, you want to get that raise, you want to pay off your student loan faster, you want to buy your first house, you need a raise, you need to get promoted, right? With all of this comes more wealth. So if that is something that you want to do, and it comes with more responsibility, right? And the great thing about being a leader is your visions come to life. So if that is something that you want, do join me on my next masterclass, you guys. I have a ton of information for you and step-by-step instructions how to become a more confident speaker so that you can get promoted faster. www.speakatwork.com. Do join me there. You can also go to my profile and you will see the link to join. Okay. Now, how many of you, I know there's a lot of new people here. So if you are an introvert, do say introvert and introduce yourself. You guys never pass on an opportunity to introduce yourself. You never know who's watching and who's listening. So do say hello, introduce yourself, and let me know if you are an introvert. If you're an extrovert that's watching and you just want to learn more about introverts, say extrovert. I want to know how many of you guys here are extroverts. Let me know. I do have the chat box open and I do want to interact with you guys. Okay. So as I'm waiting for you guys to answer, I'm going to get started on the third thing that you need to do to become a more confident, introverted leader. Okay, I have Kathleen, is an introvert, Nicole, Ranjit is an introvert, Nicole is an extroverted introvert. That's awesome, right? There are a lot of those as well. Sometimes you can be an introvert at home and an extrovert at work, or vice versa. Okay. So Christina, you said you missed the last meeting. Do join the next one. I have Christina here that's also an introvert. I have some people that are both. So very happy to have you guys. Perfect. Taha, situational introvert. I love that. All right, let's talk about the third thing now that you need to do to become a more confident, introverted leader. You guys are not going to like this one. I never liked this one, being an introvert, but this one is very, very important. Okay. You have to start speaking up more. Okay. Before you run away, and I know that's scary, right? People are weird, people are scary, you don't know how they're going to react, and you sometimes don't know what to say, but you have to start speaking up more during, number one, meetings. You have to stand out, right? And if you're not speaking up, if you're completely quiet, no one is going to hear your ideas. No one is going to hear all the important stuff that you have to say, and you won't be able to make a change if you are not speaking up. That is why it is very important for you to start speaking up. And you can start small. It doesn't have to be really major things, right? You don't have to volunteer for a presentation each time. Just start with meetings. Okay. And this is something that really helped me. I was such a quiet person, you guys. If I get into my stories, you're going to be like, oh my God, Maria, how embarrassing are you? But we're not going to get into that. But something that helped me a lot is speaking more during meetings, okay? And you want to speak early during the meeting. Do not wait until the middle. Do not wait until the end. Once you are in a meeting, make sure you are one of the first people to speak. That could be something very simple. You can even just say that you're looking forward to this meeting. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy, but start speaking early. Also, if you have an idea, how many of you have an idea and then you're like, okay, I'm going to say this. Actually, that's great. And then because you're nervous, you're just kind of waiting. And then finally, you're like about to say it and someone else comes in and says it. And you're like, oh God, I was just thinking that. Now it's too late, right? How many of you experienced that? Because that used to happen to me all the time. I would come up with an idea. I was like, okay, I know what to say. I can finally say something. And I'm like about to say it and somebody else says it. And then I'm like, oh God. And then it would take me so much time to come up with another idea. And by then half the meeting is over. And then I'm like, should I even speak now? Because now it's just going to be weird because people are going to be like, oh, wait, we forgot you were here, right? This is why speak up early. And this is why you need to say your idea as soon as you have it. Do not think about it. You guys, it's better for you to start getting it out there. And it's okay if you embarrass yourself, right? It's okay if you say something silly. It's okay because think of it just as practice, right? You're preparing yourself. You're preparing yourself to become that confident, introverted leader that you are, okay? But do not hesitate. Say what you need to say respectfully, right? You don't want to jump in front of other people. Obviously, you don't want to do anything like that, okay? So that is very important, speaking up. How else can you speak up? What are some other places that you can speak up? Let's say that you're watching a presentation, right? Your seniors are doing a presentation. Something that you should start doing is writing down some questions or comments. Do not rely on your memory. If you're anything like me, you have a memory of a goldfish. And us introverts, I have a theory. I think the reason why us introverts have bad memories is because there's so much in here. We're constantly thinking, we're constantly processing things that you forget what you were going to say 2 minutes before, right? So do not rely on your memory. If you're in a meeting or if you're in a presentation, write down your questions, right? As soon as there's an opening or as soon as there's a Q&A, you have a list of questions and comments that you can actually say. This is really going to help you make sure that you speak up more, okay? So make sure you write things down, the comments, the questions. As soon as there's an opening, you go in and you say what you need to say. Do not rely on your guy up here, the memory here, because it will let you down. I will tell you that. Write it down. You'll be much more prepared. So let's do a quick recap again. Okay, I'd like to repeat some things in case you missed it, in case you're just joining us. We're talking about the 3 ways to become a more confident leader. So let's talk about the first one, which was to hone in on your genius. You guys, introverts are brilliant, brilliant people, right? And we are brilliant because we're always thinking, we're always processing, right? But sometimes we get too caught up in that we forget to speak and we forget to let it out, right? So hone in on your genius. That's going to give you that confidence and it's going to make you more of a leader. Your genius could be anything. It could be your listening style. It could be paying attention to details. It could be something that you're good at, you're really good at one-on-one, right? Instead of speaking up in front of 5, 6 different people. Hone in on that. Get really good at that will be what's going to make you shine. Okay? Hone in on your genius. Figure out what it is, and you have one. Do not tell me that you don't have one. I know each and every single one of you has one. Figure out what it is. You can do that for yourself. Okay? That's something you're going to do for yourself. That's what I mean. Okay? The second thing was to build more relationships, network more, and connect more. This means like us introverts, we might not be so great at standing up in front of 20 million people and speaking, but we tend to do much better with one-on-ones. So when you have a one-on-one with your boss, make sure you're building a relationship. That doesn't just mean you're talking about work. Ask them about their life, ask them about their day, ask them about their goals, ask them questions too. Okay? Or if, let's say, someone in HR is someone that has a huge influence on you getting promoted, get to know them a little bit more. I used to go out for lunch all the time. One of my HR managers, we became friends, and she played a huge role in helping me get a promotion. Okay. So these things, it's again, building those good work relationships. So HR, your boss, or it could even be a senior level executive if you are ever able to, right? Ask them out for a cup of coffee. Hey, can I just pick your brain for a few minutes? If that's okay, take them out for a cup of coffee. Okay. And then number 3, and one of the hardest ones, but one of the most important ones, is to start speaking up more. You want to speak up more during meetings. And again, what did we say? You want to be able to speak up early. Do not wait until the end. Come to your meetings prepared. Come with some answers, some questions, some examples, some scenarios, right? You want to do that. That's going to help you speak more. And do not wait till the middle or the end, because the longer you wait, the more your confidence is going to go down and the harder it is for you to step in and speak. Okay, it's not impossible, but it's much harder. Okay. Lastly, you want to also prepare for presentations and stuff. Just because you're not the speaker does not mean you shouldn't be speaking. When there are presentations, if you're going into places where someone is presenting, write down your questions. Okay, that's a good question I can ask, or that wasn't clear, so maybe I can ask a little bit about that. Write it down, and as soon as they take Q&As or they give you an opportunity to speak, ask your questions. Always be one of the first few people to speak up. Okay, it's really going to make you stand out, and it's going to calm your nerves too, right? When you speak up early, it's going to help you calm your nerves, and you'll be much more inclined to speak more throughout the rest of the meeting or the presentation. Okay, so these are the 3 ways that you can become a much more confident and introverted together. This is the 3 ways to become a very confident introverted leader. Let me know which of these 3 you're going to start doing. Okay, and I want you to start doing these now. Do not wait, you guys. Take action. Do it right now. Also, lastly, if you want a full masterclass on this, on how to get promoted faster, especially if you are an introvert, then do join me on my next live masterclass, which is the 3 steps to get promoted faster as an introverted leader. You just have to go to my profile. There is a link to sign up. Claim your spot. I only have a certain amount of seats available. So make sure you claim yours and make sure you arrive on time, because I close the doors as soon as the number is full. Okay. You can also go to www.speakatwork.com to claim your seat. All right, you guys, I do go live 3 times a week. Let me know if there's a topic that you'd like for me to cover. when it comes to speaking, when it comes to introverts, leadership, public speaking, all that great stuff, presentations. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great week. And I want to say thank you again so much for all the love and all of the support. Take care. Bye.